Well, Xbox have finally gone and done it, and they've given us a mighty preview sale prior to the huge summer sale that should be coming up in the next week. At the moment, 300 games are now down in price, and some of them are insane deals that you need to pick up for this week. All of these games today though are at their lowest price points that we've ever seen before, and I'm only recommending games that I've actually played and do suggest buying at these specific price tags. As always though, I will be giving away a free Xbox game on our usual sales videos hosted on a Wednesday, so make sure to comment below and you will be entered for this upcoming week. Now with that, let's dive into these insane deals you cannot miss in this massive preview sale. First up, we have a personal favourite of mine, and it blended the lore of Tolkien's world with brutal action gameplay. If you aren't familiar though, Shadow of Mordor puts you in the boots of Talion, a ranger that was actually resurrected with wraith-like powers. What really did set this one apart though is the Nemesis system, and this is a dynamic AI mechanic where enemies remember you, adapt, and also rise through the ranks of Sauron's army, and that's all based on your own actions. The combat is very slick here though, the open world design gives you plenty of freedom, and the story carves out its own unique place in Middle-earth. The Game of the Year edition, which I'm highlighting, also bundles in every bit of DLC, adding so many hours of extra content. For under a $5, it's a fantastic value, and it still holds up remarkably well today, even though it's at 30 FPS. Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 takes arcade racing to another level, with its insane track design, its tight handling, and a massive lineup of customizable die-cast cars. It honestly has to be one of my favourite arcade races on Xbox to this day, and now that it's not on Xbox Game Pass, it's well worth grabbing in this sale. Whether you're racing through backyard loops or just wanting to pull off some mid-air stunts in a Leon-lit lab, this one thrives on pure fast-paced fun. There is a deep career mode here alongside split-screen multiplayer, and also a robust track editor that still lets you build and share your own chaotic courses. At a low price of just £6.74, this is a steal for anyone who actually grew up racing Hot Wheels or just loves over-the-top arcade races. Next up is the very first discount on Assassin's Creed Shadows, and this is Ubisoft's latest entry that finally takes the franchise to feudal Japan. In this one though, if you're not familiar, you will play as both a shinobi assassin and a powerful samurai, each of them with their own unique gameplay paths, that being stealthy infiltration or aggressive dueling, and they're actually woven together in a shared campaign. Visually though, the game is actually rather good looking, and of course with any Ubisoft title, it's packed with tons of exploration elements and so many things for you to do. This does double down though on the RPG elements, which I was never the biggest fan of, but this one seems to be one of the best out of the modern AC games. £45 isn't a small price for sure, but for a new release as of this year, it's still a decent discount and a great time to grab it. A slower, more cerebral sci-fi adventure, The Invincible is actually based on a classic novel by Stanislaw Lem. In this one, you're dropped onto the surface of a barren, mysterious planet as a scientist that's piecing together a lost mission, and what follows is actually a story-rich experience that's full of atmosphere and philosophical undertones. Rather than action games, this one actually leans into environmental storytelling, exploration, and its narrative choice, so it really does offer a cool visual style that channels retro futurism beautifully. It's quiet, tense, and completely immersive. At just £14.99, this is a must-play if you love thoughtful sci-fi with some strong writing. Abe is back and more desperate than ever in Oddworld Soulstorm, a modern reimagining of the classic Oddworld formula, and the sale for this one is pretty incredible for this week. Of course, it does include some updated visuals, refined platforming, and also a darker tone as you kind of expect from an enhanced edition. The gameplay here though does actually focus on stealth, puzzle solving, and rescuing your fellow workers across treacherous, trap-laden environments. It's both challenging and also rewarding, but stays true to the series' roots while adding some new systems like crafting and alternate routes. At just £6.69, this is a pretty solid pickup, especially if you're a fan of this franchise, or if you just want to dive into this one and see why Oddworld is so highly regarded as a great experience. There have been few licensed games that have ever got a game right, but The Stick of Truth isn't just a funny South Park episode, it's actually a surprisingly well-crafted RPG wrapped in the show's signature crude humour, and I bloody love it. Randomly enough though, this one was actually developed by Obsidian, Yes, the same Obsidian behind Grounded, Avowed, Pentiment, and New Vegas. This one though absolutely nails the turn-based combat and world building, all whilst being a parody of those sort of typical fantasy tropes in the most ridiculous ways. I still remember how hard I actually laughed during my first playthrough, and it is like watching an entire episode of this show. At just £6.24, this is honestly the best way to experience one of the most faithful TV to game adaptations we've ever seen, and it's a cracking good time. This next one totally flew under the radar for quite a lot of people out there, but LEGO Bricktales is one of the most thoughtful and relaxing puzzle games that I've ever played in recent years, and with a second entry coming to us very soon, it's well worth diving into. Instead of smashing things up in like the usual LEGO games, this one actually focuses on creative construction, letting you solve environmental challenges by actually building with your bricks. It's got a charming diorama style presentation, a wholesome story alongside with it, and also some genuinely clever level design. If you've ever loved LEGO as a kid, or still do to this day just like myself, then this one is a really peaceful, satisfying gem that deserves way more attention. Again, this is a pretty low price at just £6.24 and is an absolute no-brainer, and you won't ever regret picking it up. The reboot of Lords of the Fallen brings Souls-like action to the next level with some stunning visuals, brutal dual world exploration, and a very deep customization system. In this one though, you will switch between the realms of both the living and the dead to basically overcome puzzles, enemies, and secrets, and it does create one of the most unique gameplay loops in this genre. Personally though, what kind of won me over this one is the pacing and the fact that the developers have actually stuck with this game and recently brought us the excellent 2.0 patch, which improved just so many areas that were certainly less than desired. The deluxe edition though does come with some bonus gear and some digital extras that really flesh out this overall experience. For just £21, it's a strong pickup, especially if you're a fan of games like Elden Ring or Lies of P, or just anyone who really is hungry for a fresh, dark fantasy world. Set in an alternate Soviet future, Atomic Heart is a really wild, chaotic blend of Bioshock-style FPS gameplay, but then also a strange and surreal story. With this second entry hopefully coming to us as of 2026, now is the best time to experience where it all actually started. The Gold Edition, which I'm highlighting again, does give you access to all of the expansions alongside some exclusive gear, adding some serious value if you're planning to dive deeper into this weird universe. This game though is all about its experimentation, so things like telekinesis, melee weapons, hacking, and then heavy weaponry that combine in such frantic combat, all whilst exploring the bizarre retro-futuristic facilities filled with mutant robots. Whilst I didn't love the game over something like Bioshock due to its lackluster open world segments, it's still so worth it at the low price point, especially for this Gold Edition. Blending things like detective work with Lovecraftian horror, you then get The Awakened, and it's a bold reimagining of one of the earlier Sherlock games, but this time it's actually rebuilt in Unreal Engine with expanded mechanics and a deeper, more psychological story. You'll travel from London to swamps and asylums, piecing together a cosmic mystery far beyond Holmes's usual rational world. What I really did appreciate though was the atmosphere here. It's actually quite dark, eerie, and just off kilter enough to keep you really unsettled. If you're more into those sort of narrative-driven mysteries with a touch and sprinkle of horror, this is a real hidden gem. For a $5, you're getting a gripping few evenings with lots of investigation and tension that are well worth your time. Now, this World War II shooter might be a few generations old, but it still stands out thanks to its focus on squad-based strategy rather than just run-and-gun gameplay. I would say it is probably my favourite shooter of the Xbox 360 generation, and I still love diving into it from time to time, and I bloody wish we just got a new entry at this point. If you're unfamiliar though, Brothers in Arms Hell's Highway puts you in command, flanking enemies, issuing orders, and watching things play out in dramatic slow motion. It has one of the best stories that we've seen in a World War II game and follows the excellent landings of Operation Market Garden. For just £2.69, you're really getting a piece of shooter history with some real depth. It may not hold up in terms of its facial animations, and they do look pretty scary, but these days the gameplay is still pretty solid and well worth diving into. In my honest opinion, the Crew Motorfest is Ubisoft's best racing effort to this day, and it's a huge step up from its predecessors and a real contender to the open world racing crown. This one is now set in a stylized Hawaiian island and mixes cars, boats, and planes in a fluid festival format that lets you take on themed events, challenges, and co-op stunts. What really won me over with this one though is just how fun it feels even when you're not racing. From everything from exploration, car culture playlist, and multiplayer, they're all handled pretty well, and the constant free updates are also pretty good as well. At just £15 is a fantastic fantastic entry point for arcade racing fans who want something that mixes variety with visual punch. It's also a good grab if you like stuff like the Forza Horizon franchise but want to just mix it up a little bit. This next bundle is a dream come true for puzzle platformer fans. Featuring Trine 1 through 4, each of these games lets you switch between a knight, wizard and thief to solve physics-based puzzles across stunning fantasy landscapes. Honestly, Trine is such a lovely experience, and I have to always play every single game they release as the devs here have created such a beautiful world. The main draws to this franchise though are the smart problem solving elements, the light combat and also its beautiful worlds. What I've always loved about Trine as well is just how relaxing and creative it can actually get. It's really great in its solo play and even better in its co-op modes. The low price this week is only £7.99, and for that you're getting 4 games that play like storybooks that come to life. You won't find a better superhero bundle than this within the Xbox Store sale, and no, it's not the dire game that's known as Suicide Squad. Arkham Asylum, Arkham City and Arkham Knight are all included within this Arkham bundle, giving you 3 of the most critically acclaimed action games of the past 2 decades in one sleek package. These games mastered the stealth, combat and world building, and it's clear to see how Rocksteady have fallen from these masterpieces. At just £7.50 is a ridiculous deal for this full trilogy, whether it's your first time grappling across Gotham or a return trip to Rocksteady's massively crafted world. This collection is an essential for any fan of rich, cinematic action games that are really done right. Elden Ring was never going to be just another action RPG. It's the culmination of years of From Software's design excellence that's wrapped in an expansive open world that's genuinely full of mystery, and upon playing this one, you will see why most players bloody love it. Every region in this game really offers something new, from cryptic NPCs, punishing bosses, hidden weapons, and just some terrifying lore. The exploration here also feels truly rewarding, as there's no map markers, no hand-holding, just discovery and then stumbling upon the unexpected. If you've ever wanted to get lost in a Souls-like game for the first time, this is easily the best to start with. It's down to just £30 at 40% off, and this is matching its lowest digital price on Xbox, and I doubt we'll see it going lower anytime soon. There are few RPGs out there quite like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and for me it's easily my game of the year for 2025, even though I absolutely adored Expedition 33. Rather than giving you magic and dungeons though, it actually immerses you in the harsh reality of medieval Europe in Bohemia. Of course, you are again put in the shoes of Henry Iscalets, and every decision you make here has some real weight. That could be anything from combat, conversation, or just your role within its feudal world. What I really loved about this one though is everything is simulated in such incredible detail. If you decide to kill someone at night, the town will then investigate, and days later you could suddenly have a bounty on your head. It's just insane, but the level of freedom and choice is just utterly exhilarating. This is the first time that we've seen a discount this steep, dropping it to just £45, and I couldn't recommend this game enough. This next one caught me completely off guard, and I know many of you have actually seen me mention it here on the channel before. Robocop Rogue City doesn't just slap the license on another shooter, it actually brings the entire 80s vibe with it. Of course, you will be walking and shooting around like Murphy, and then you'll interrogate your suspects, patrol the streets, and take down gangs in slow, methodical shootouts that feel very chunky but also satisfying. The Alex Murphy edition is the highlight for today and adds in some nice little bonuses, but right now it's just £6, down an insane 90%. For that price, you're getting a game that's far more polished and enjoyable than it had any right to be, and Unfinished Business is coming out this July, so you definitely need to experience this gem before the follow-up comes to us very soon. Metro Exodus really takes the tight survival horror roots of this series, but then expands them into a broader semi-open world journey across a ruined Russia, and even today it's bloody gorgeous. What really set this one apart though was its tone. It's very quiet, desolate, but deeply human. You're not just shooting monsters, you'll be scavenging, upgrading your gear, and then riding trains through breathtaking seasonal landscapes, and then trying to survive in a dying world. The Gold Edition though adds in 2 full expansions, and at £5.25, down by 85%, it's honestly a ridiculous value. I would say it wasn't my favourite in this series, as I did personally prefer Redux, but even so, this is an insane value proposition and a hugely underrated grab for this sale. Mad Max may have flown under the radar when it first launched, but has slowly become one of the best kept secrets on Xbox consoles, and I think many of you would probably agree. It gives you a dusty, dangerous open world that's filled with tons of convoys to destroy, bases for you to clear, and car upgrades that feel genuinely impactful. The melee combat is heavy and brutal like the Batman Arkham games, and the wasteland atmosphere is just spot on. You're getting all of that chaos, storytelling, and vehicular mayhem this week for just £2.99, and that is utterly ridiculous at this point. I wish this game never got overshadowed at the time by Metal Gear Solid, as it did launch on the very same day, but this is a bloody great time and an underrated gem, especially if you've never played it before. Everyone knows Cuphead at this point in time. It's a visual masterclass that's wrapped in the brutally tough Bosch Rush format, and it will test all of your resilience in every single way. Inspired by 1930s rubber hose animation, every frame here, as you can see, is hand-drawn, and it's very hard to find any other games out there that nailed this presentation. The gameplay, while it's deceptively simple on the surface, really demands some tight reflexes and real pattern recognition. Whether you're dodging a sentient candy castle or taking down a cigar-wielding boxing frog, it keeps surprising you with its creative designs. It's now down to just £11.71, and although it is the same discount that we've seen before, it actually hasn't gone on sale at this point for many months, so it's definitely worth grabbing if you want to try it out. Few games out there blend survival horror and first-person parkour as well as Dying Light. We actually got the recent enhanced update for free, so it's well worth picking up in this week's sale. Out of the gate though, you will get the base game plus the fantastic The Following expansion, adding additional weapons and quality of life improvements. If you're not familiar though, you'll be roaming around the infected city of Haran by day, and it's utterly thrilling, but come nightfall, that's when the predators become more aggressive and the tone of this game shifts to a full-blown survival panic. The parkour system is another big reason why it stands out on the market, especially with the oversaturation of the zombie market, but at £8.99, this version gives you dozens of hours of single-player content. Raji and Ancient Epic really delivered something rarely seen in Western-dominated games. It's a deep dive into Indian mythology told through a heartfelt action-adventure. In this one though, you'll step into the sandals of Raji, a young girl chosen by the gods to stand against a demonic invasion and rescue her kidnapped brother. The gameplay here is very tight and fast-paced, with a mix of acrobatic traversal, puzzle solving, and also mythological combat that features divine weapons and ability. Visually, it is stunning with a sort of painterly art style and also narration that echoes traditional Indian storytelling, and this game feels genuinely fresh. Right now it's only £5, and it's absolutely worth grabbing if you want something meaningful, artistic, and bloody different. Now, imagine Burnout, Flat Out, and a touch of Twisted Metal all thrown into a blender, and then you get Trial Out. This isn't your average racing game, it's actually an over-the-top, chaotic, and constantly entertaining one. Cars will explode mid-air, drivers will then get launched through windshields, and every event will push you into the wildest corners of arcade destruction racing. It's got multiple modes here as well, from arena demolition to classic time trials, and a weirdly enjoyable story mode that features some bizarre characters and rivalries. It's now just £10 thanks to a 60% discount, and this is one of the lowest discounts we've actually seen for this game. It is certainly one of those sleeper hits for fans of old school car combat, and I definitely recommend it if you're a fan of the old Burnout games. If you're a fan of deck builders with some deep lore and dark twisted mechanics, then Tainted Grail Conquest is an underrated gem that you shouldn't overlook, especially as it was the prequel to Tainted Grail The Fall of Avalon, which recently released this year. This one though is of course set still within that sort of bleak cursed version of Arthurian legend, but the game actually throws you into an endless procedurally generated run filled with difficult choices, tactical turn-based battles, and an eerie atmosphere. You will be building and refining your own deck as you move through haunted villages, twisted forests, and forgotten ruins, and each of your decisions alters just how the next encounter will actually play out. It's currently just £6.69, and for that price you're getting a dense, intelligent roguelike that appeals to fans of Slay the Spire and Darkest Dungeon. So what games are you looking to pick up in this summer preview sale? You'll have to let me know down below, and remember that also enters you into our Xbox game giveaway for this coming Wednesday. As always though, hit that like button if you enjoyed, as it really helps support the channel, and do subscribe as I do upload Xbox content on a daily basis. Whilst you're here though, why don't you check out the video on screen now, as I covered the huge Xbox update of what's going on over the last week. There's a lot to cover in that video, so definitely worth checking it out.